All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to hold up a bit of a psychological mirror to explore something that might literally be the invisible ceiling on your happiness. It's an incredibly common, yet rarely diagnosed phenomenon, conflating who you are with what you do. You know, we live in a world that constantly asks us, so what do you do the second we meet someone new at a dinner party or networking event? But when the answer to that casual question becomes the absolute sole definition of your existence, well, you step into a very specific kind of trap. So let's unpack exactly how this happens, and much more importantly, how we can actually break free from it. I want you to honestly reflect for a second here. Do you strongly link your fundamental value as a human being to your job performance, or to the number of tasks you manage to cross off your to-do list every single day? If you've ever felt that creeping sense of guilt just for sitting on the couch on a Sunday afternoon because you aren't getting things done, you are absolutely not alone. This is exactly what we're dissecting today. Because tying your human worth to your daily output, that's a recipe for a really fragile sense of self. Okay, moving into section 1, the trap of productivity. This is where we need to establish our baseline of how we naturally, but quite dangerously, tie our core identity to our professional output. We call this the professional identity paradox. Basically, it happens when the line between "I did a bad job today" and "I am a bad person" gets completely erased. When you're stuck in the grip of this paradox, your confidence levels aren't grounded in your inherent worth at all. Instead, they become entirely dependent on workplace recognition. If your boss gives you a thumbs up, you feel like a superhero, right? But if an email goes unanswered, you suddenly feel like a total failure. Your emotional state is pretty much being held hostage by your daily productivity metrics. Which brings us to section 2, the internal pressure cooker. Let's look at how this paradox escalates from just a subtle habit into a surprisingly heavy internal burden. You push harder than required. Now, on the surface, this just looks like a killer work ethic, doesn't it? But actually, underneath, it's not driven by healthy ambition at all. It's driven by an anxious, almost desperate need to constantly prove your competence and your reliability to everyone around you. Because think about it, if your worth equals your work, you can literally never stop proving that you're a hard worker. You volunteer for extra projects you definitely don't have time for, you're compulsively answering emails at 11 p.m., and you operate as if dropping just one single minor ball means the entire stage is going to collapse. Notice the really stark contrast here. On the left, we have external reality, and on the right, your internal perception. This brilliantly illustrates the massive disconnect happening in your brain. To your manager, a simple note saying, "Hey, let's revise paragraph 3," is just standard, routine procedure. It's a small mistake, no big deal. But inside that internal pressure cooker, those workplace expectations morph into heavy, heavy burdens. That neutral comment feels highly personal. To you, it feels like a devastating character assassination. And because of all that psychological weight, criticism feels significantly heavier to you than it appears to anyone else. When your identity is completely tangled up with your work, any critique is absorbed as a direct hit to your self-worth. You aren't just hearing "this spreadsheet has an error." No, your brain immediately translates that into "you are fundamentally inadequate." It is just an exhausting, constantly defensive way to navigate a standard Tuesday morning at the office. Let's shift over to section 3, the leadership facade and burnout. Now, what's genuinely fascinating about this is the duality of the paradox. Look at the left side. You might actually be highly successful. You might naturally step into leadership roles, earning genuine respect and authority from all your peers. But simultaneously, over on the right, you are fighting a grueling internal battle just to maintain that performance. It's a facade. You project total absolute control to the office, while internally, the pressure to never slip up is just deafening. You start overworking simply to maintain the respect you've already earned, because you're terrified that if you slow down, even for a second, everyone is going to realize you aren't as capable as they think. This creates a dangerous domino effect. First, you overwork to maintain your authority. Then, because of all that momentum, rest actually starts to feel uncomfortable. Really think about that for a second. Relaxing literally gives you anxiety unless it's tied to an achievement or completing a task. You can't just read a fun novel on the weekend. You have to read a business book to strictly improve yourself. And finally, you get trapped in a loop of continuous self-evaluation against impossibly high internal standards. When you combine the overworking, an inability to rest, and relentless self-criticism, it leads directly to a brick wall. And that wall, that's burnout. So, how do we fix it? Section 4, reclaiming your inherent value. We really need to shift gears here and look at the ultimate psychological cure for this paradox.
Our source material offers a truly pivotal realization, and it goes like this. Your growth comes from separating identity from performance and realizing that your value is not defined by constant achievement. I really want you to absorb that. True professional and personal growth doesn't mean becoming some sort of flawless machine. It means decoupling your identity from your productivity. It's the profound realization that you are still a valuable, extremely worthy human being, even on the days you accomplish absolutely nothing. Your worth is a constant. Your productivity is just a variable.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. Who are you when you aren't working? Strip away the job title, the to-do lists, the massive projects, and those late-night emails. What is actually left? Finding the honest answer to that question, finding your inherent value outside of your daily achievements, is the only way to permanently dismantle the professional identity paradox. Think about who that person is, and I highly encourage you to spend a little more time getting to know them.